Good morning, everybody. It's back at the Connection Experience with Dr. Shani. I'm going to share a personal story today that combines a couple of different things that we've talked about in some of the other videos. The first is knowing your love language. My love language is words of affirmation. And if you remember from the previous videos, one of the major threats to words of affirmation is criticism. So put a pin in that, remember that. The next thing is positive attributions for behaviors. And just to review that, it is having a better assumption of your partner, giving your partner the benefit of the doubt, assigning a more positive reason for their behaviors. So I was thinking about this example from me and my husband a while ago when our son was first born. He was about 6 months old. And we're new parents. We were, learning a lot, trying to figure it out, trying to figure each other out. And I had this narrative of my husband that he was very critical. I also know that for myself, I have a trigger around incompetence. So you put those two things together and you kind of get a little bit of a mess. Someone who is hypersensitive to feedback that, around being inadequate or incompetent, and then someone that you feel is critical. So that is a playground for a lot of conflict. So you're new parents, you're learning a new skill. There's tons of places where you're going to feel a little less than because you're trying to figure it all out. There's also a ton of room for judgment and criticism around what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. So I'm coming in with a narrative that my husband is critical, and also coming in with a bit of sensitivity around feeling incompetent. So this one particular morning, he's asking me, hey, he's like, why did you put him in that? I get him dressed in the morning most of the time back then. And so it was just something that I was used to doing. So the why immediately triggered something for me. The why felt like you're judging what I did. You're implying that I did something wrong and that I should have done something different or better, right? There's the trigger. So the why was very triggering. So I'm coming in hot. As soon as he says that, I'm all over it. I'm like, because I wanted to. And why you always question me? La, 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 la. He's like, whoa, what just happened? What is going on here? Which is another good skill. Check in with your partner. Every time you get a reaction that you feel like is too intense for the moment, there's contamination there. There's something going on there behind the scenes, behind the curtain that you're not seeing. There's an underlying issue. It's not your job to anticipate your partner's triggers all the time, but it is your responsibility if you notice something is going on to check in and say, what's wrong? What did I miss? Which is what he did in that moment. That gives me a pause to say, okay, well, what did he miss? Wait, what am I missing? Why am I responding so intensely to this question? It's just a question. Why can't you just answer the question? I put him in that hoodie because it's going to be cold in the morning, but it's going to get hotter, and he needs layers so that he doesn't overheat or get too cold. So simple. So, but instead of doing that, I jumped down his throat. Said you're always criticizing me. La 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 la. Woo, woo, woo. So then he goes, Shani, slow down. He's like, I'm not criticizing you. I'm not saying you did anything wrong. I learn out loud. Sometimes I learn out loud. I gather information through whys. I gather information by talking things out. And sometimes it might appear that I'm questioning things, but I'm just trying to get the information. Well, so simple, right? But anytime there is a trigger present, it's going to contaminate simple things. So we have a joke about, and I say we, I'm talking about, some of my colleagues have a joke about couples, and we always say it's not about the dishes, right? You see couples fight about nothing all the time. John Gottman did a lot of research. He's this relationship guru. You check him out, him and his wife, Julie Gottman, and they talk about the things that couples fight about. And in their research, what they found is like couples really fight about nothing. Nothing. What happens is all of these ways that we respond to these day-to-day issues creates bigger problems. So back to the love languages. So, major threat to a words of affirmation person is criticism, because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't pour into the person. It doesn't uplift them. It just kind of puts them down. This is the perception of it. So that was the first thing, is that one of my love languages was being triggered. So I thought. The second thing is that I assumed worse of him. I did not assume he was learning out loud. I assumed he was trying to hurt me. So there goes the contamination right there. The love language is being threatened and attacked, and then no positive attribution for that behavior. No benefit of the doubt. No assumption that he's not trying to hurt you. He's trying to learn. So that was really, really powerful feedback. I've taken that in. And so now the times that I think he's being critical have been cut in half. They're not 100% gone, because sometimes I think he is being critical. But I will check myself every once in a while. Is this my sensitivity? Is this really happening? Is this feeling, or is this fact? And just another tip, feelings are not facts. They are feelings. It doesn't mean they're not valid. It doesn't mean they're not important. It just means you might want to clarify. Just to make sure that you're not causing yourself any emotional distress that's unnecessary. So feelings are not facts. Check it, clarify it. Like, hey, did you think I should be doing something different, or are you just trying to figure out what the routine is? And his response to that was, I'm trying to figure out what your routine is, because there are going to be days where I have to get him dressed and I don't really know your process. So I'm trying to learn what the process is, so that when I have to do it, I know what, clothes to put on him. It's so silly. It's a silly thing. It's like, it's not the end of the world if he's not dressed appropriately, but this is what happens in day-to-days for couples, right? Is that these small things become bigger issues because of the way we are treating them. So I was thinking about that and trying to plan my content for this week, and I thought that was important to share, and I do have his permission to share it. Thank you, Kyle, for that lesson. It has helped me see him differently. It's helped to see myself differently, and manage my own triggers rather than making him responsible for managing my triggers, because that's not his responsibility. That's an inside job. But now that he is aware of it, it's okay for him to kind of work on his delivery, and I think he has for the most part. So that is my little personal story. Remember, combining all the things that I'm teaching through these videos and trying to improve your relationship with them. I said in our first video that I'm on this journey with you, and this is an example of that. I'm still learning about my own stuff, and but I am finding it helpful. So I hope you're finding it helpful to subscribe to the YouTube channel to get updates, alerts when the videos are posted, and don't forget to connect.